With us on the line right now is Robbie 59 from our community. Robbie 59 is not 59, 14 years old, Robbie?
Yeah.
What's your religious background? Jewish?
Yeah. I was conservative leaning towards Orthodox.
And were you bar mitzvahed?
Yeah.
How long ago was that for you? 2 years?
1 year.
1 year. So what did you think of everything that you learned while you were going through your bar mitzvah process?
I entered sort of Jewish community when I was in 6th grade, and I really got into it. It really got me. And over my whole, I don't know, when I started stepping for my bar mitzvah, I was really interested in it, and I really believed in what I was doing.
So at what point did it dawn on you that you should research the other side of the coin?
I was actually in class. I go to an Orthodox school, and a lot of my friends were talking about atheism because they heard about wait 1 second. Sorry.
Yeah,
my
no
mom's
problem.
Calling me. Yeah.
Oh, the fun of talking to a child. He rocks, of course, but
Yeah.
gotta wait for Mom. Wish I could be a little kid again. I would, if I could be
I
a kid
know.
again with all the knowledge I have now,
That would be great.
I would do it again.
I would too.
I would definitely do it again. Wouldn't even
So in
think
a
twice.
heartbeat. And I would still pwn people like twice.
I'd
my
have to
age.
take a little Kelly with me, though.
A 14-year-old Kelly.
Yeah, Kelly and I at 14, starting over.
But yeah, like that would be.
Oh my gosh!
weird.
Wow, we could make all kinds of shit work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. What was the question?
I was asking you, at what moment did you realize that you should research the other side? You were telling me that I think you overheard some kids talking about atheism at school or something.
Yeah, they were talking about it at school, and I was in my English class, and my teacher asked me if I would do an essay on it, and I searched it on Google, and I went on Wikipedia, but that wasn't a very good source, and I looked through Google and I found you guys, and I went on the chat room.
Yeah, that's right. Me and Rich Rodriguez were talking to you one night.
You remember that? A while
Yeah.
ago?
Yeah, he came into the Rational Response Squad chat room, the actual one.
So was that a very intellectual discussion?
It was. Rich talked to him more than I did because Rich has more of a Jewish background than I do.
Right.
So he went ahead and talked to him, but yeah, it seemed very open-minded when he came in there.
So, Robbie, did you feel like you were kind of questioning the whole time, or did you feel like you were fighting what you felt to be true? I mean, how did that feel trying to research the other side?
Well, when I started, I was questioning, and I didn't really expect for atheists to know that much about my religion. That's just sort of how I was taught. And then later, when I got people to start, arguing with me, they're like, you have a Chumash, you have a Gemara, get it out. And they started citing sources, and this argument came up. I forget the details, but, it was really good. And I was actually more interested. I wasn't very, angry. I didn't feel like I was fighting. But I wrote down a lot of the questions that I didn't understand or that I couldn't answer. And I went to my rabbis about it the next day. And it was actually one of the most interesting arguments or debates I've ever had.
Wow.
Who was the one that told you to get out your Hamash?
I think you told me to get out my Chumash, and then before somebody asked me to get out my Gemara.
That stunned you, or something that they even were aware of your faith? Is that what you're saying?
Well, tell me more about what happened with the debate.
I think a lot of it came up. I think you mentioned the Holocaust, and it started, coming to me when I was benching. If you guys don't know what benching is, that's after you eat food, it's sort of our grace. And it says how, God takes a very active role in everything. And I heard my rabbi mentioning one day how God let the Holocaust happen instead of saying that he had an active role, which we usually say in our prayers and benching and stuff like that. And other questions came up, lots of questions from the Torah, from specifically something about Bamidbar, which is numbers and stuff like that. And a lot of those questions went unanswered. My rabbis just said, God works in mysterious ways, or I don't know the answer, ask your other local rabbi. and it went in circles, and I never got those questions answered.
So on our website, what was it then that made the biggest difference?
A lot of the essays, but in particular, I think it was one. I think one called "Theism is Irrational" or something along those lines. It's actually like on your Stickam homepage.
Yeah.
I think.
What, the show itself, the whole show, or the essay?
The essay, I think. I read the essay, and it was
Okay.
actually really good.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
That essay, I believe, was by Samuel Thomas Poling from
Yes.
Rational Response Squad, Washington. So you browsed the site, the essays, and hung out in the chat room, I guess, too. Was that with Rich Rodriguez and Rook one of your only experiences in there, or were you in all the time while you considered yourself Jewish?
It started with the debate, and then I started hanging out in the chat room. And then for a few months, I didn't go near it. I actually really didn't like you guys because you made me think at first.
Right.
And for months, I had like inner arguments in my head and stuff. I think it was a painful process. And I think I finally came to terms with my, deconversion. And I actually really appreciated that. And it actually took a very, very, very long time. And prayer actually really helped with disproving my religion, I think.
Why? What did you pray for?
For about 3 years, I was praying for my dad, who has Alzheimer's, and never worked. And, I started getting more angry.
You've been praying consistently for the same thing over and over. And
yeah, that was about the only things I really prayed for, and nothing happened.
At the time, were you being taught that your prayers would yield results by your family and religious leaders?
Yeah. I was taught that a lot of your prayers do come true because, you pray for food, you get food every day. You pray for happiness, you get a moment of happiness every day. And I prayed for something that be, impossible without God, I would think. And it never happened.
What's even weirder is the person who they pray for that, and by coincidence it actually does happen, and then they think that it's proof of God.
Right. Like, you get food because someone makes money in your family to buy food to bring it home to you,
I mean, it's really not proof of either, although not having your prayer answer is certainly proof that a prayer wasn't answered.
Yeah.
So, how long ago was it that you think that you... And today it's, August 2nd, 2007. But how long ago was it that you officially left religion?
Last Friday.
Last Friday. So, like 6 days ago.
Yeah. We were in the room the other night having a show, and that's when he came in and he said, I left religion.
Yeah. What was it? Yeah, it was somebody that night. We were talking to Scott Clifton.
Right, Scott Clifton.
That was a good conversation.
Yeah.
You came in the chat room and said at that time that something about our conversation helped you break free of religion at that moment.
Yeah, it was basically, he PM'd me and said, I think because of you guys, I've left my religion.
So, have you told the people around you?
I told some of my friends, my less religious friends, and I've told my mom. And I haven't really told the rest of my family. I don't think I can right now. I think I'm going to wait till I'm a little older. But I've told my girlfriend, my friends, and I think that's important.
Well, what do they have to say about it? Did they did they accept it, or?
Yeah, they all accepted it. My mom thought I was kidding at first, but she got around that.
And she's okay with it. And now you say, Dad, you can't tell him or something?
Well, yeah, I just don't want to upset him because he's sick right now. And, yeah.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
So, do you feel like life is different for you now?
Yeah, I feel like a chain has been lifted, sort of. I used to, feel bad that I had these thoughts that, maybe God doesn't exist, maybe some things didn't happen that my rabbis claim happened, and it feels really good right now.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we, were able to play such an impact and a role. And
hope to see you on the forums a lot, taking part there and having good conversations. If you have any concerns, voice them. People will talk to you. You're part of the community now, so.
You said you had a question or two that you wanted to ask us. What were they?
Oh, yeah. I think it was mentioned before that you guys were Christians before. And
right.
How did you guys deconvert and stuff like that?
You want to go?
Yeah, I'll try to make this quick.
Go ahead. Tell the 4-minute version.
Tell them the 4-minute version? I have a 15-minute version. Is that all right?
Tell the 6-minute version.
6-minute version? All right, that's a good compromise. I was studying to become a priest. Basically, I had a fight with my dad one night coming home, and my dad kind of pwned me for about 3 hours. We were in the car just talking, and he was like, "Why do you want to become a priest for?" And I was telling him the reasons, and my dad was always a deist. Like, he never claimed there wasn't a God, but for a time he just claimed that he believed in something, but he didn't know if it was a Christian God. So he and I were debating for the entire time, and then we were at my mom's house. We were talking and talking and talking, and at one point I brought up, and he just pwned me really bad, just completely just destroyed my arguments. And I got mad at him. I was always mad at him because, he uses the same tactics that we use. He ridiculed stupid comments. So if I said something or if I made a false analogy, my dad would laugh at me. And that used to make me so mad. I'm like, oh, I hate when you do that. You laugh at me, that just drives me nuts, But it made me think, why was he laughing like that? What did he see that was so bad about what I said? I couldn't, and that was what made me think. It made me think because I couldn't figure out why he was laughing. I wanted to know why he thought it was so humorous. So that night, I researched a lot of what he said. I researched some of my comments and found rebuttals to them, but I found them on the Atheist Network, which is where I met Jake. So it was around the same time where, like, I just started thinking, and I saw some messages from Jake on the AN, and I just realized that, religion wasn't for me after all, so I ended up overnight deconverting. I mean, I went to school the day before. My dad and I had the conversation as a Catholic wanting to become a priest. I had a cross on my collar, my school uniform. That was what I wanted to be. The next day I went back to school, I was an atheist, and no cross on my collar. I didn't stand for prayer or none of that. And everyone thought I was joking, but it was just the way it was. So that was me.
My story is that my mother was Catholic and then turned born again Christian when I was like 12. I was already asking questions in Catholic school. I remember asking the nuns at one point why God had to kill everybody on earth if he knew ahead of time that he would have to kill them and he's supposed to love everybody. And I remember getting slapped on the hand with a ruler for that. Then I started getting my science education, in school. You start learning a little bit about the dinosaurs. You start learning a little bit about dating processes and how accurate and reliable our notion is that the dinosaurs lived at a certain time. And the particular sect of Christianity that my mother ascribed to at this point now is much more fundamentalist, evangelical type Christianity. And, I asked the pastor for a couple of answers to a couple of questions, and he wasn't able to satisfy my, I felt like he was being dishonest, and I wasn't willing to accept the answer that he was giving me. I felt he was wrong. And so I slowly pushed away from that form of belief. I continued to hold some sort of God belief, but one that as I started to learn more about science, I started filling in the hole with scientific information. So I would say, okay, well, I know that evolution is true, and I know that man evolved, so obviously God didn't create the first two people. So I would replace that belief of how God created the world with a real fact-based scientific belief. And over time, more holes got filled up as I learned more about science. And finally, I guess it was at the point where I thought that God would have created the Big Bang. And I also came to atheistnetwork.com, met Jake. And Jake, in fact, mentioned something to me about, why am I creating a God to explain something that I don't fully understand? I don't understand how it could have come to exist without a God. So I've created a God. However, the fact is, I don't know how God came to exist either. So why do that twice? Why not just have what I started with, which is that I don't know how the Big Bang started. And that's it. And I don't know. But I don't need to create something else I don't know to say, well, this did it. I might as well say that a flying spaghetti monster created it.
Right.
It's just as logical for me to say that because I have no proof to claim either one. And so it was Jake, Kudos to Jake, but it was Jake who helped me see that I didn't believe in God. But of course, then I realized I was just an agnostic, because before that I was a deist. But now I knew I was agnostic because I didn't believe in a God, but I didn't know for sure there wasn't a God. And then Jake showed me the real definition of atheist and showed me how it applied to me And I realized that was another lie I had been told. I mean, I knew atheists were devil worshippers, and that was that day. When I became an agnostic. It was just a few hours later that day that I realized actually the word is atheist, and I didn't fight hard. I accepted it pretty fast. I think some of us accept it pretty fast and have no problem talking about it right away, and want to talk about it a lot. And then others of us, Robbie, you're probably one of 10 people in the last 2 weeks that have told me that they left religion because of us.
Yeah.
And you're the only one that I've been able to get to talk on the phone. So, Robbie, what else do you want to talk about?
No, actually, my mom needs the phone. I really wanted to thank you guys a lot, and what you're doing is, I think, great. And I got to get off the phone.
Okay.
All right.
guys.
Thanks a lot, Robbie.
All right, Robbie.